Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please rise. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call.
Mayor Caucus.
Here.
Mrs. Passio.
Here.
Mr. Ranieri.
Here.
Mr. Farrell.
Here.
Mrs. Kelly.
Here.
Mr. Root.
Here.
Mr. Long.
Here.
Mr. Bayshore.
Here.
And Mr. Ray.
Here.
Okay, public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been given by the clerk in the following manner. One, posted on the bulletin board in the Borough Clerk's office on January 6, 2015. And two, emailed to the retrospect and courier post on January 6, 2015. Public hearing. Okay, this is our agenda for the council meeting. Public hearing, this will be for the direct deposit ordinance, the mercantile ordinance, and the home business ordinance, the vacant property ordinance, the personnel policy, and street excavation ordinance. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Wow, we're busy. Does anybody have any questions on any of these? Direct deposit, there is a phase-in period for that. It doesn't take official effect until July, correct?
Everybody's on board.
There's no exceptions
Oh, no
of
exception.
anybody. The mercantile license, I think, was just a little clarification for the clerk, how that's going to be handled. Home businesses, this is the recommendation from the planning board. I think everyone thinks that that's okay. The vacant property was the one that Len did for us. There was the state statute allowing us to cite.
Do we have a number?
How
many are vacant?
No, that was something we're going to discuss a
That
little
was
bit
something,
tonight.
yeah, okay.
The personnel policy, what was the change on, the personnel policy was the change that requires any management level employee who's leaving us to give us 4 months. It was 4 months.
Oh, 120 days.
It was good. I'll tell you why it's good. And street excavations, this was the amendment because we had really penalized any new construction in the town. So we were just amending the fee to, I think it was $1,000 per hole instead of $5,000 per hole. We're being a little generous, even though the engineer's not thrilled.
There was a suggestion about restoration as opposed to,
The current ordinance that we did adopt recently did have a higher standard for the repair work. The argument is the fee was, it cost a few $1,000s extra just to do that laser, am I saying it right? Infrared. The infrared cost, each hole is a couple $1,000s just to infrared, is that correct? So by adding just a fee, the idea is that the water company doesn't come in and do 50 holes at one time.
it's going to be $1,000 per hole.
I think it's $1,000 per
Yeah.
hole.
Per.
That's what you said. You talking about 1,000 or 2,500.
I don't remember, was it 2,500 or was it 1,000? Joyce, do you have it?
Was there a commercial stipulation or was it all?
It was all the same. The idea that you couldn't really treat people differently.
Okay.
Public utilities, right? The only people really thinking about is new construction. If somebody wants to switch their line over from oil to gas, the issue that we're trying to say is we're trying to impose at least a 5-year moratorium to not tear up a road that we just got done spending $170,000, $200,000 to repave
Look at Orchard.
and cutting it up already.
This is non-refundable portion.
Yeah.
They still have to put up their escrow.
It's still escrow where there's bonding, correct?
Well, bonding, yeah, but you're not gonna, bonding is only for utility companies.
The utility guys, but they're the ones who do most of the damage.
So it is decided it's $1,000 per hole?
Per hole.
Per patch? Per hole?
Per excavation. So Mr. Bayshore had also suggested that if, say you were digging the water line and the sewer line, if it was one large hole.
Right.
Now, there's also fees on how much you disturb, correct? The ordinance does allocate a certain, so many square feet. You can't tear up the whole road. Now, just to digress slightly, I heard another municipality is forcing everybody to go curb to curb when they tear it. Did you hear that?
Well, you have that in your ordinance, if it's a longitudinal pipe that exceeds 10% of the whole roadway.
Okay, so we have that. So you understand what that's saying? If you tear it too much of the road, you really have to fix from the curb
Oh,
to the other side of the street. They try to, instead of having all these little patches. Because all the patches tend to get worse.
They degrade very quickly.
Okay. Introduction of the cap or COLA ordinance, that's something that we do every year. It gives us the opportunity to exceed the cap, which hopefully we will not do. I don't believe we will do that, but it gives us that opportunity. Resolution granting authority to the assessor to file appeals He's just asking us for this authority.
We do this every year.
We do it every year. Clothing bin, the discussion, if everybody got it, did everybody get that application?
Yeah.
I personally, the only comment that I have, and I did talk to Ms. Moore about, her one concern was the bridge deli. She thought that our ordinance does allow us to dictate a little bit about where it goes. The question is, should we allow it to go on a residential side, or should we, I think it's okay to put it there, but should, instead of being on the residential side, should it be facing the road?
Doesn't matter, it's not.
It doesn't really,
No, no one's
You know.
complaining, it's not bad.
I don't think it's terrible.
Nobody could use it.
Bev only thought that it maybe, not face,
Yeah, I don't think,
Oh,
just
but-
because that person hasn't complained, they come walking out of their house and see a clothing bin. You come walking out of that person's house and there's a clothing bin
It
right
would
there.
bother me, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, but is
But
it,
it's
can you see it on the other side? Will people donate it
They-
on the other
well, it'd
side?
be facing Clemenswood Road.
I think if they have the commercial side, it should go to the commercial side.
It will be
If it's
facing
residential,
Clemenswood Road?
commercial, it should go to the
If
commercial.
you look at the application, the building right now, it faces Oakland.
The parking lot's on the now.
Yeah, so the idea is maybe if you put it on the other side of the building, it would face Clemenswood Road.
The only thing is, it's very convenient for somebody to unload. If they want to bring in clothing, you park right there, you get out, it's at the curbing.
I think it's on the grass, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on the grass.
It's on the grass.
It is a slower road, but they have a parking lot that they can park in. And if that's an inconvenience for Bridge Deli, to have people in their parking lot that unload clothes, then they need to get rid of that thing.
Yeah, they would just pull right up in front of the deli and then go drop the clothes. I know it's a little bit less
It's
than what you.
inconvenient, I think it's inconvenient for anybody to pull into that parking lot.
It is a tough parking lot.
It is a very tough parking lot.
But that would be the only comment, would be, they'll allow it, but just make them put it on the commercial side. We can decide that at the next meeting. We vote for
Well,
it.
excuse me, I have to do a resolution for the next meeting. What would you like me to do? Oh,
We'll put a resolution on it, we'll just
vote?
vote at that moment.
Yes or no?
Yeah, yes
Well,
or
what
no.
about the other one? The other one doesn't comply.
I thought they
Keith
did,
Keith said it does not comply.
well,
And
then we
they
could deny
refused,
it.
they
that way.
refused to tell us how money would.
But I read the application, they said that they were nonprofit on the clothes side, and then the management company, did anybody read everything? over
Yeah,
there?
I did, but they didn't
There
tell
is
me
a
where the
profit,
money
there is
was.
a profit on the clothes.
There was profit.
He specifically told
Do
Keith
we
he
wanna
wouldn't
do
tell
that?
us.
Do we
They
wanna
said a
do it?
percentage of the profits would go to the charities. They didn't say
Yeah,
how
but
much.
They didn't say how much. You can deny it, it's once again, put it as a resolution.
That was Keith's point.
Resolution apply, because it's council decision.
So just do the resolutions
Yeah,
and
they
then
can
decide.
shoot it down.
Better look at it, yeah, it's fine.
We have a week,
Yeah.
and we can always table it. We're government, not to move too fast.
Think you better look at it.
It's not my style, you're right. Sewer fee adjustments,
Sounds like a scheme,
that's typical, it could be.
but I'd like to look into it further before I say.
That's typical, somebody overpaid, obviously, is that right, Joyce? Somebody,
The sewer, I was given a bunch of adjustments that John had gone out to look at some properties that were, that had changed the, whatever it was.
The use.
The use of it, so there will be just adjusted.
okay. Shared service agreements with the payroll clerk from Barrington and the deputy registrar from
It's
Barrington.
no change from last year.
No change from last year, we have a payroll clerk, we have a backup when Joyce is on vacation. Registrar from Barrington takes all the work, and I think Rich can say payroll's going very well. Okay. Pretty soon we won't be printing checks anymore, though, that would be wonderful.
That'll be great.
The last 10 minutes of payroll was bringing the checks.
A lot of paper. 3 resolutions regarding police procedures, Narcan, ALPR, and child abduction response team. This, we were waiting for Len a little bit to review it, to see if it was a resolution versus an ordinance. And the idea, these are policies that have to do with our police department, and the question is it part of their rules and regulations, which means that we have to adopt it? And then the other one was, or do we adopt it as an ordinance? So obviously, if it's an ordinance, it's 2 readings. If it's a resolution, we can just do it next week
Deal with that.
and be done. Hopefully, it's just a resolution. Okay. We have a dog tethering ordinance. We have basically a page and a half. I've never had an opportunity to look at it.
Yes, I did.
The idea, this was brought to our attention that it would be inserted in our ordinance that would just basically outline the fact that you can't tie your dog up all day outside.
It gives a little bit more bite to the ordinance. The ordinance is very,
Weak.
I think it's a part of our sustainability, when we reached out to get our badge for sustainability.
And
It's
they
part of the
looked at-
championship, to give more to our pets.
They said that on this part of it?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I like it.
So if there's anything, I mean, once again, I know that
I like it.
our legal counsel reviewed it, so I think we're okay, and we just be inserted. That's a good question.
It's in here.
Fine, is it in there, police?
It's all in here, yes.
What's not
The
the fine?
police,
What was the
the
police?
SCCA,
Mr. Wright's concern is obviously we pass an ordinance, we need to make it clear who's going to enforce it. The mercantile license is a nice
You wanna read
example.
it?
Well, no, the point though is that,
They're clear on what their role is. and the
yeah, we need to make sure that our department understands that.
Yeah, in addition, the police have animal control and the SPCA.
Borough police start the ball rolling, once there's a complaint.
But we, once again, we have to make sure that our police are on the same page as us to enforce our ordinances. Just that was the main issue.
I have a question,
Should we
George.
bring it up in the next meeting?
The next day.
It says all the rules, but it doesn't say what happens to you if you're found guilty of this first time, second time.
What's that?
The penalties?
The penalty?
I thought it was
Not
200.
financially.
It is, it's $500.
$500?
Up to $500. The dog will get taken away.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Section 4, any person who violates any provision of
okay.
this chapter
Okay.
shall commit a summary offense. Can you see
I
section?
mean, we didn't write this from scratch, it was kind of taken.
Yeah, it
from-
was taken from different municipalities, and Linda Hurd and myself, we spent many hours on it. And we took it from different municipalities, we took the best of each municipality in our area.
And then, like I said, it's been reviewed and it'll be plugged into our ordinance. Okay, CDBG,
You want this for first reading?
first reading. CDBG, so make sure you release the sounds like the microphones are on. Are you guys hearing it very easily? You haven't turned up. It's okay.
Who do you want to lower?
No, no, it's okay.
The year 37 applications are due on March 11th, so next council meeting, I'll pass a resolution of what project you want to put in for. The estimated entitlement is $37,000 this year. I did talk to Anthony Bianco from CDBG. You could apply for the Washington Avenue project that you just completed, as long as, which closes out the year 36, which is just getting an invoice into him, documenting what your expenses were. If we do that, then we could apply year 37 for Washington Avenue. That would free up $37,000 that you had used bond money for, and then you could do any project in town, not strictly a CDBG eligible project.
So we can do what I'm saying.
So,
We do what? Well, I'm sure it's already done. That money's already allocated from last year.
That money's gone.
and it would just make projects easier, so then, we've already followed the CDBG guidelines for Washington Avenue, the federal wage rates,
Yeah.
interviewing everybody on site, stuff like that. So if you still want to do a project within the CDBG eligible area, you could do it, you just want to follow the guidelines at that point in time. It would just be bond money. So I know Bob had some issue with some drainage on West Fifth, I think it was. You can still do that, you just don't have to follow CDBG guidelines.
And use that money that we freed up. I think, you we come up with ideas and see what's
So
like.
it depends what you want to do, if that's, if Rich has no problem. If that's
Yeah.
up to-
Backs up. The map, like you said,
One of our areas where it's
yeah, all those dead end
a
streets.
problem.
So you just buy next, or Tuesday, you just have to do a resolution of what project you want.
Okay, you want to put that on resolution, then we'll
What
find
is the project?
Washington Avenue.
Okay, and you'll get the invoice into.
And then we can use the money anywhere.
He said if you got in by March 1st, you could do it. I forwarded you, I'm just saying, I forwarded you an email and a sample.
Let me ask that question. Probably $337,000.
To get reimbursed, while we're waiting to hear from supplemental.
Well, we'll talk about
Well, that's the
machine.
Or we would also need to launch like that.
If we pay, yes.
Okay. Trying to keep track of that. Yes. You know what I ran into? We told him that we was giving him just an invoice for material because of the issues with the earlier loan contractor.
Okay.
But our materials are done per square foot, including labor.
Just put it
Send
in.
them the whole $200,000 invoice and see if you can pick.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you. Resolution supporting transportation trust fund being fixed by state legislation. The mayor of Laurel Springs sent a letter out to all the mayors in Camden County. It's just a resolution. I think it looks good if there's a little solidarity if all the towns basically say to the state that they should try to fund road projects this year. If anybody watched the budget budget address that the governor had today. So far, we understand that we're gonna get the same amount of state aid as we got last year, at least that's what I got out of it. And transportation trust funding, there's no guarantee at all yet, because there's no money. It runs out July 1.
I
So
thought they were gonna do a gas tax.
they told them, they gotta vote. They have to vote. If they don't vote,
But if he vetoes it, it's not gonna happen.
the governor of New Jersey is very strong veto power. So, that would make it very difficult for us to do our other
How do you
projects.
feel about a gas tax?
Personally? We
I
have
know,
12 and a
but
half
it's the
cents.
lowest, it's the lowest in all our neighboring states.
12 and a half cents.
Come on.
Yeah, but we're the highest in everything else.
Use the gas tax just for transportation funds.
It's a good point.
For other funds that
You know what?
actually make a
I think
problem.
it just goes in as a slush.
I would support it 100% if I knew that instead of us getting $150,000 a year to fix roads, that we would go back and get $300,000. Because if we had $300,000 every year, that's a substantial amount of road that we could do every year. And that's what they promised us, well, at least suggested at the beginning of the year, that if they doubled the gas tax, every municipality would basically double the amount of DOT trust funding we would get. We were averaging 150,
To pay for.
and when we get like 300 every other year, they started doing it.
Yeah, that's,
That's what
yeah.
we're.
Too bad.
It's easy to justify, it's a simple way to get some money, but I don't like that, hey, it's
always-
And can go
It's
anywhere,
really
yeah.
crazy.
And one of the problems is that they borrowed $14.5 billion that they haven't paid back yet. So all the money from the gas tax is just going to the based on that. So that's what I'm saying.
It's too easy to grab it.
It is, it's too easy.
So what is this resolution?
So our resolution basically says that you have a copy of the choice. It says Laurel Springs had a typical, it was very nice, basically saying the state legislature and the governor, please do something to bring our trust funding so we'll be able to do road projects coming in July.
That sounds very reasonable.
Yeah. Discussion of hiring 2 new officers. As everyone knows,
Newland? Yes.
we have 2 officers that were on our civil service list, that were interviewed, that passed all their testing. They're replacing 2 officers that left us, and that's about it. I mean, it's pretty simple. We'll swear them in.
Nothing sworn in.
We'll swear them in at the council meeting, and they'll start working the next day. So,
That's good, it's all good.
discussion employee severance. Mr. Wright, would you like to bring this up?
Yes, we have 2 severances that I'm reviewing. As part of the rules under the New Jersey statutes, all severances have to be certified by the CFO, have to be approved by council. Basically, they have all the paperwork in now, and before the council meeting, calculations. There's not that many factors that come into play. Basically, we do not pay out for sick time. That's something that we've never monetized in borough property. There's rules under civil service and the contracts for vacation time. Comp time is payable at the rate based on the number of hours that they have. So basically, it's just a question of doing the spreadsheet that we use when people retire. So I don't have a dollar figure yet, but we have 2 to review.
So it'll be on there, so we'll do a resolution authorizing the payment, whichever certified by
Then that's go that we paid out in the next regular paycheck.
It is a paycheck, right?
Regular paycheck.
Paycheck, okay. And you said there was a second severance?
There's 2 that are being reviewed. One's for Robinson, the other one was for David Myers.
I'm doing ours, okay. We lost the public works employee. Tonnage grant resolutions. Joyce?
We do these every year. They're authorizing us to apply for the next year's funding and also stating our, the tax that we paid on our disposal last year. Good time.
And this gets us our money back every year, is this what gets us the property maintenance lien resolution?
Yeah, I was given a property maintenance lien today, so I will do a resolution for that. Also, I have to add 2 totally disabled veterans who are on homes in town who met the requirements per our assessor. He handed it to me about half an hour ago. So we will also go on for resolution to cancel their taxes.
And property maintenance lien, how much was that for?
400 and something dollars, I think. It's only one property. Then they get someone on.
All right, so then let's just go around the room real quick, because we'll talk about this at the end. Mike, did you want to talk anything about I saw that email about the fountain guy. Did you want to talk about, did you thought about that, or?
Yeah, well, I wanted to go price for an electrician to run from the pole to the timer station. But everything's set for I assumed we were set. But he sent that email like it's up in the air. I was just assuming we were doing it.
The guy who we thought we hired last year, who came out and treated Kirschley, gave us a proposal for an aerating fountain there. Did we already bring the electric out there, or there's no electric?
No, not yet.
The pole's ready though, is the meter out there?
No, that's what's got to get from the pole to to a station, where they can run the wire from the fountain.
So we need to,
Solar panels, or are they very expensive?
it's just more convenient for the electric.
I don't think it's, it wasn't an option. He didn't offer it as an option. So, and what he did throw out as, if we want to get a different kind of fountain with different colored lighting, where we could switch the light for the season, I guess like green and red for Christmas.
That's nice.
Hey, I live right around the corner.
Pink for what's February, breast cancer month.
Yeah, it was an LED light.
Yeah, so I replied back to him to see if there was any increase in the amount of the fountain, or get some information on it, but he hasn't got back to me on that.
So we haven't done the requisition for this fountain at this point, right?
No.
But the funding's been sitting here. So we have the money, we just need
We
to
have the money.
hire the fountain
As part of
guy
the Hershey Lake one,
and then hire the electrician.
yeah.
I'm good with the extra colors, if it's reasonable, I think it looks nice.
I think it was LEDs, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Turn such
LED.
a negative into a positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and we could,
Show it off a little bit.
I think it was pretty neat, right?
yeah.
But he didn't give any pricing on that.
Then we have a price on
We have price, but not on the LED light.
not on the different color lights. We have a price on our light, or I guess just a regular clear light, or whatever the light is.
Now, do we think we're going to treat that lake again this year? Do you think that's an ongoing thing? Is that going to be part of the
I
budget?
put it in for my budget, yeah,
It's
it's
a maintenance
maintenance
thing
of
to
it.
keep it from,
So, yeah. And hopefully, if we do it early, and we don't need as much as we did last year, so,
because it got out.
yeah.
Of course, that was-
It wasn't our fault, but, Is there anything else?
Well, we're talking, just the pole barn is behind schedule, just because of the weather, nobody can do anything. Can't pour the concrete, we can't even flatten out the ground inside because it's so frozen, so deep. Even if we heated the building, it would only go 3-4 inches into the ground, and we wouldn't be able to properly, we could get that 3-4 inches flat, but if there's anything not flat or solid under the frozen area, then when it thaws, that'll just dip down, and we'll have a problem in the turf. So we need to either, basically our options, we're getting a ground blanket heater, which is a coil, it's a machine that it heats, and it's a coil that you just wrap hundreds of feet of a tube that sends hot liquid through it, and then you cover it with a blanket, and that will heat the ground. And so probably $2,000-3,000 later, we should have.
You wait till
more
spring.
ground.
I think we might have some spring.
Yeah, we've been waiting 35 years for this building. Now, a couple months aren't going to go, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a shame we wanted to get some kids in there this winter playing, but they'll still be able to use it. Hopefully, next week looks good. The contractor said that if, Saturday, Sunday's supposed to get warmer, and as long as it stays around freezing, it'll be doable. It's just the fact that it's been, 0 degrees to 10 degrees, and it's just not going out, so.
We get some water in there.
We're still looking to get heater units into that stuff.
Yeah, there's going to be heaters, but they said even if we had the heaters, it wouldn't do anything to that ground. The surface would be okay, but they wouldn't be able to do any work anyhow. So like getting the heater that we had for the Howard Williams building, that wouldn't be worth it.
Well, patience is a virtue, we'll get there.
Yeah, so that's just the bad news we have.
Okay, and the other thing else I wanted to ask him again is the tree issue down at Hirsch Lake and some of the around the fields. This has been brought up again, the idea of what public works can do, what vendors can do. I mean, what needs to be done there?
Basically, there's some trees that need to be removed, which I don't think our guys can do. You know, that's gonna be something we're gonna have to. But I believe the trees that we're gonna move is gonna be the big plants for the softball field. So when we, you know, when I ask for money next year for the big project with the softball field, that tree removal will be in that. These are just to just to basically keep the overgrowth of the current trees now in the fields, to just trim them up for play, you know, because they're hanging over the fields. How high they are,
The girls softball?
Girls
Yeah.
softball fields.
how high they are, and what particular ones they want, I still need to walk out there. And again, weather permitting, we're gonna walk out there and see if it's something our guys can do. Because we have the capability of doing a lot of this removal with chipper and different guys. We just gotta weigh the difference between whether it's worth it to get a private contractor to come in and take care of it, or have our guys take care of it.
Do you also see trees being taken to get back down to that lake again?
Yeah, that's gonna be a major, because that's all overgrown. I'm actually gonna talk to Mark on that to see if it's worth it to design a road to go around things instead of just going straight down. You know, if we can go, you know.
What do you think of an asphalt road, or are you saying it's just a stone dirt road?
The fishing game
Right.
doesn't recommend using asphalt that close to the road. So we either gotta use a stone, he recommended wood chips, is what they recommend, being that close to the road, to the lake.
Because Public Works did say that there's a lot of dumping that had been brought back.
Yes.
Where we dumped on asphalt, on concrete.
Well,
And they made it clear that they have the capability going down there, cleaning out that asphalt, recycling it, cleaning out that concrete.
We
recycling.
need to get them piles down, break them up, get rid of it properly. I also have all our removal of our dirts from the fields, the RYAA fields, the softball fields, and if anything's done at Green Acres, is gonna be put on that road.
Hmm.
So that's when we start building up that road with our dirt that we're just moving, to start the process of that road from the street out. So right now, it's real low, and if you walk on it, it's always wet because it's low. So when we start building that up with all the dirt that we have going through the town, and then at that point, if we want to use any kind of road material, we could use there, but once we get to a certain point, beyond the softball field, we gotta take the recommendation of
Wood chips.
fishing game with wood chips or stone.
I have a whole meeting, but how about that Green Acres where you know, because the reason I bring this up a lot is because of the idea of what we're gonna do with Public Works and things like that, what their capabilities are, what it's gonna cost us to, you know, what his budget's gonna be to do this stuff. Like the tree line that's between the new softball, the new soccer field, and where the old softball field, which we're basically vacating. Do we think that that's a Public Works job, that they could remove those trees?
They're a little smaller and it's wide open, so they don't have
They
to
can
worry
just let
about,
them fall?
they don't have to worry about falling on anything, so I think they would be capable. We have the machine, that could pull out the stumps at that point, and we have access from the trail that we don't have to go through.
Well, the original plan.
Are we allowed to do this?
Well, if we give stuff back, Mr. Basher can attest that, well, these trees were, the original plan was that the soccer field was supposed to be 130 yards long, but it meant losing the softball field. The softball field has continued to sink, and 2 years ago, we brought in, does anybody remember? You guys-
Every year we bring in.
50 yards of dirt.
And it just goes away.
It's too wet back in that area. So if anything, we should vacate that area that's too wet over there. And then maybe where this tree line was, if you look upstairs, the original blueprint shows the field going, what, about 20 feet into the softball field? Maybe a little bit more.
So those are the trees that you would be taking?
There's about 4 of these older
Yeah,
trees.
well, I think it was originally 6, 2 of them fell over last year that we taken care of. But yeah, to get to the soccer field the proper size that it needs to be. Right now, they're utilizing it, but there's a lot of our kids that can't play on that field because it was built too small.
Well, built for a certain age.
Yeah.
If you went, you're 17 or 15 years
Well, it's
old.
not even
you
that. I
know.
think it's like at 12, stopped using that field. So we're looking at, 13, 14, 15-year-olds that still play soccer for the RYA, that can't, that are using fields out of town.
So, and plus softball's just become a mess, right? Joyce, we're down to nobody renting it anymore.
Well, no, and they don't rent it because of the condition of it all the time. It's a very, if you get, we have a bad rain, it's effective for a long time. and
Yeah, there's a lake,
Now-
shortstop is a lake, and every time, and it's not, and if you notice, if you go down there, you can see how much higher the soccer fields are, because they had to build up those fields because it is built on the swamp. You're about a foot and a half higher, that soccer field's about a foot and a half higher than the infield of that softball field. So you imagine the water just coming right up in that area. So even if it's, it's not like it's rained and then it dissipates, it rains and it stays there.
Do you think there's the fence around the outfield fence should come down? Do you think the backstop should come down? Do you think that's how we give up and maybe go
What I was
more
wanting to do,
natural?
what I wanted to do is, I would like to keep a softball field down there, would be the ultimate goal. But if it's not feasible to have the softball field with the soccer field, what I'm gonna do is gonna get a measurement from home plate to where the soccer field would start, or around the soccer field. If that's still 200 feet, that is a girls' softball field size. It's not for men's softball, but it's for a girls' softball. So if we could still have a girls' softball field down there and eventually put some work into it and raise it up properly, then that would be an idea. But if the softball field comes to 150 and nobody really can use it, then it's going to be worth getting rid of that softball field. And we can utilize that field for mayor and committee. We're talking about volleyball, sand volleyball, stuff like that, or, just something else over there that could be utilized. So.
But we're definitely not renting.
I just think everybody should know about what's going on. That
Again,
affects
what we
everyone.
do is, we could say you can rent it, but we're not gonna put no more money into it. We're just not gonna put any more money into it, putting sand, putting more dirt, spending $400 or $500 in dirt for a year is ridiculous.
They're not gonna pay $200.
Right,
to rent it.
right, or if we do run into some money and it gets down to Green Acres, and we start working on that soccer field, it might end their season.
Okay.
So it's really not worth it for somebody to rent. But if they want to do that and play day to day, they're more than welcome.
Yeah, most of them are leagues, so I
Yeah,
don't think they'll do
yeah.
that.
Last thing, the application for the recreation grant, did you see there was an opportunity maybe for two?
Well, yeah, if you guys want to, we can fill out 2 a year because of our residents, their population. But if we fill out 2, which we just filled out one for the gym floor for the Howard Williams building, so if we fill out 2, we don't know if it's going to affect next year. If we get 2 this year, are we going to be able to get 1 next year? So if it's just, I want to look into that. I don't know if that's
So
a
just do
good
one.
question to ask somebody, or if they're like,
Do you guys remember when you went to Magnolia and they had gotten a couple that year? And the reason was, I think what Mike's saying is they were able to build it up a little bit and get a couple of months. Does that make sense?
Well, the Borough put in for 1 application, and then girls softball put in for 1, and Little League put in for, so they actually put in for 3.
This is Magnolia, you were part of that project.
And they got
They got 2 out of
They
3.
got to it. That's right.
And then the next year, they only got 1 out of 3.
That's not bad though.
Right.
But they had a big project, they were building that big building. Okay, well, whatever you think,
I think go for the
I think you go.
Yeah, go for the 2.
You got another project.
Sure, you.
Go for the 2.
You never know what's gonna happen next year.
Yeah.
You go for it.
You never know. All right, Mike, is there anything else? I'm sorry.
no, that seems to be, yeah, that's all I got going on.
I wonder, do you want to add anything else? You want to add about, how do you bring up, well, that'd be why don't we do a close for personnel on that one? Okay. Was there anything else you wanted to bring
Well,
up?
we're not going to do close tonight.
We can do a quick close, because I think if we want to move forward on that, I think council needs to agree, and then we can do it.
I talked with Patty.
We can talk a little bit about it. Do you think it's a problem? We can always postpone it.
No, she agrees with me.
We'll talk, that's why we'll have a close. We'll do 10 to 15
Quick
minutes.
close.
Okay.
Okay. Was there anything else?
Well, met with the fire company, the trustees and the officers, and we looked at some of the needs that the fire company has. And one of the emergent ones is the lighting in the firehouse. It's really bad. And
Is this where the trucks are kept?
Yeah, yes.
It's, a third of them are working, it's capacitors and valves all. They can hardly see, they're having trouble seeing
It's bad.
There's so much better product out there now.
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really old.
So switch to an LED light.
Oh, yeah.
What we got for pole barns.
Yeah.
It's fine to put some lights in there.
Did the officers talk with you about getting a price for that?
They were out at the pole barn, when I was out there with the electrician, and they connected with the electrician.
Okay.
So, if they got a price, they went directly through the electrician,
Good.
that particular electrician.
Okay. They'll be coming
Yeah.
back with some ideas about what they want and what they need. And I think that council should look at maybe helping them out with that, because our men are there, our women are there 24/7. And they're our employees. And that's all our equipment is there.
But we definitely can look at it as our aid to the fire, our volunteer fire. We can always, you know.
I think the most important thing is the way they can't work in that area because of the channel.
It's not even
Yeah, that alone, you know, obviously, you guys know my opinion on the fire company, but, you know, if they need to work on these vehicles, they need lighting to work.
Well, I think we should be cautious where we're spending money, and I understand where you're coming, but I understand that we have an obligation. Say that?
Prepping the vehicles, like, I guess, you know, whatever they need to do with the
Supply, they
vehicles.
need the supplies.
I think John's point, the fact that they're so old, just to replace the bulbs, and to do
They
that,
can't even do that.
you know,
because of valves.
it would be a one-time expense for
They're
us.
deteriorating.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
It's a one-time expense.
Right.
Well, that's
Well, we
what,
don't know.
it's very good.
We have no heat in.
It's not a large.
Yeah, no heat in public works.
Low lighting in an area, I mean, there's.
Well, what did the lights cost in the home? It's less than $9,000, that included the
It was
service.
less than $9,000, and that's putting the service in, so.
Yeah, it's
it's-
service, emergency lighting.
I would say no more than 3 for the lights themselves.
So
If they have the
maybe
wire and
6,000,
everything.
6,000, let's see.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think, it's not as big as the gym. In the gym, I think we got
Should
numbers.
somebody work on getting some quotes for that?
Well, I think the fire company, it is their building. The question is if we want to do what's
If
called
we want to help them out.
aid to the volunteer fire company. We give them a certain amount of money every year because we rent the building.
So then they can get some proposals and bring it to.
Yes.
discuss
Yeah,
it.
I think that's what, yeah, that's it. Was there anything else?
Well, we're going to go into closed session.
Yeah.
No, I met with Municipal Alliance. We have a big event coming up on the 21st of March with the senior dinner. And we're excited about that.
35 so far.
Yeah, we're excited about that. And the police department, their program is going to run a basketball tournament as part of their end of the season of the DARE program. So they're working on that. That's going to be great. Come May, we'll be starting our bicycle program again, so we'll be seeing our men out on bicycles. And they had some good ideas about what they want to do to promote community outreach. And one of them was reinstating the baseball card program. And that was exciting, because I think the kids will love that. So they're talking. good
Are we
stuff.
allowed to train them?
Yes, and you get more, everybody wants to get the whole set, you know, and.
So that was it.
If you want
It's a good
Chief,
idea.
It
If
was
you
double
want-
entendre, my friends.
yeah, if you want Chief Daly's card, you get extra, you get.
We're not the training, right?
You get-
Training?
The last Chief Deli card I saw was a lot smaller.
That's right. The first year. The
I'm
rookie-
gray,
rookie year.
They come with double cards.
the camera sometimes not your friend.
The Municipal Alliance is also going to move with the police department on having a prescription drop-off. I saw it, I read one in the newspaper just the other day, one of the departments was promoting, and I've been seeing it a lot more in a lot of municipalities. I think that's a great idea.
So that's on, they're on board with that, and that's gonna happen that night. They're having. a
March
drop-off.
19th.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I thought it was March 21st.
No, it's 19th, I know.
19th? Is that it?
Okay, that's it.
Okay, good. Extraordinary?
Okay, I'm gonna make this quick, I got a lot of things to talk about, but I know.
This is what this
it
is
took up
for.
A lot of time. Just some basic things. It's been approved, just because it's a minor item, getting the outlet over at the Harry Williams building so we can get that sign finally lit and power to that area. That's done
this building, I went to Sherwin-Williams, a couple different places. Just have to select the color, I'm really close on it. Talked to Nick from Public Works today, I met him over here.
Nice.
And he's ready to go. He said he's gonna have some time in next week, a couple of weeks, sooner the better. Nick, yeah.
Mr. Ritz.
Oh,
Mr.
Nick, okay.
I'm not.
I thought you were good.
I'm done.
Oh,
And he's ready to go, and I got
I
some
run the
pricing
vacuum, I
for
don't
that.
do anything else.
I did get some prices, a price from the contractors, a little high, very high.
But it's good for benchmarking, to
Yeah.
know if you're gonna put manpower in.
Had trouble finding local painters to give me prices.
Well, you know what, give an example of what the difference is. It was, how much was it to paint this room and the hallway?
It's 3,000 for this room,
and then over 7 grand.
and 7,000 for the hallway.
Gee,
Or by vice versa, wasn't it?
was it? Or
No,
was
so
it
You
7?
gotta do it 3 times.
No.
So the point though is that we can buy the paint, but we already have the labor. You know, that's the argument. Can we use our labor to do things? And that's what we.
Well, the paint and the materials will cost us about $600 to do, actually, no, that's to get started, that's to get most of the hallway done, so we can, what I really want to do, just
Tell
other,
everybody your opinion.
other than the color, everybody has to agree the color out there is really bad, isn't it? I'm sorry, whoever picked it out. We have to go with something a little more mainstream, and I have some color choices here. White is nice, but maybe a little hint of the green. But I ultimately want to put some pictures up, pictures of the past mayors, current mayors, future mayors maybe.
Future mayors.
And just liven up the place. You know, Patty puts on a great couple of parties a year, lots of parties. And the residents have a great time, and everybody's having a ball. We have 500 people at the Christmas party, I think.
Oh,
And we should advertise how happy this community is, and it's nowhere to be seen. That's kind of what I want to bring to the table. So I want to start with this building, get the walls painted. Patty and I, Eleanor, we're probably going to work, and else wants to help with getting some pictures done. Staples does a great job of blowing up any picture you want, any size, already framed, and we can work, we can start there.
yep, we have some old pictures too.
The old pictures, that's
Yeah,
it.
I'm looking forward to it because it doesn't look so
The
wonderful.
one in house.
No, there's nothing out there.
Nothing.
And we haven't done a good job promoting things.
So if I get the go-ahead, I'm gonna gather the materials myself, lay out the work for Nick Ritz and his crew, and we'll just get started.
Well, it's been 4 years since we painted before, is that correct? We got about 4 years out of paint. And we still have not painted the front office and the chief's office.
Oh, yeah, he's back there.
But Mr. Knight's office looks very good. I don't know, Mr. Knight's
I
office.
think what I wanna do it for the community. So I think the hallway is the best place to start. So I'm gonna move forward with the project if it's okay with you.
John, I'm on board with it to get matching frames. I hate,
Oh, of course, of
I
course.
hate mismatch.
Oh, the frames for pictures?
I just hate
It'll look nice, it'll be good. So, do I have to go on that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Use that public works department.
Right.
Moving forward.
Carry on the
Yes.
picture, have a beach set.
Moving
Have a
forward.
beach set.
There's some ladies are nice. These are actually.
I'll keep on going so we move forward here. Also, with the electrical quotes,
Little colonial also.
You know, we'll move west. Well, that's what we're gonna bring up next.
while I was getting electrical quotes, I have quotes also for the flagpole. If we ever want to light that up on holidays, every night if you want to.
It should be lit all the time, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's up all the time, so wouldn't
The
it
flight's
be
flowing at night, it should be lit.
Yeah.
all the time? It's not, so anyhow,
It's not lit.
there's an ordinance, I guess federal, you have to have 3 spotlights, et cetera. But I got a proposal of like $2,600 to get that light done. But we can get power over there ourselves, just get the power, and then we could put our own lights up, I mean, that's not so hard. So that's something we might be able to move quickly on.
We should get lights on.
Right, we'll figure that out, but I'm working on that. Also, the proposal came through for the Harry Williams building. I talked to Mike Root about that. That's one proposal we have in Harry Williams for lighting. I don't know if we're gonna move with that, but that's ready.
We are, we have, remember what we did is we did,
Yeah, we have a couple, we have two.
we passed the bond ordinance for $100,000, so we can get that heater done, we get the light done, we get the floor done, and with the grant money, we should be able to get all that stuff.
Each week, I'm just trying to knock things out. There's one proposal there. We also ordered the fall banner so that it's in time for fall, instead of ordering all the banners that we wanted. So we're gonna come back to ordering some more banners, but at least we have the one ordered, so that we'll have it in time. Just the one. And the other ones, we have to still select the full banner, but I have the pricing on all that.
You mean Fall or spring, which one are you saying?
What do you?
I'm sorry,
Spring.
spring.
Yeah.
I know what you meant, like,
Yeah,
visualize
that's why I
it.
I'm
said.
picturing
the
fall.
fall.
Isn't that the one with the
Spring.
tulips?
Yes.
You guys
Yes,
picked
spring
it, right?
and
I
have
summer.
it. By the way, I have the choices for the, which have to be decided upon for the fall. Upstairs in the meeting room, it's in the files. You just pull it apart, there's about 15 choices.
Something was wrong.
You'll see the ones that I chose. So anybody wants to put their input on it, they're upstairs.
Okay, thank you.
All right? Let's see. We have one quote for the HVAC at the Harry Williams building, probably waiting for more on that, right?
And remind everybody that the heater in there is 37 years old, is that what you hear?
It's old.
Banging and noise.
It's not just spending money, everyone, we're trying to fix things.
Oh, here we go. I'm gonna go.
Stop spending money.
Right.
Utility savings, Rich and I attended a class that we may implement. We're trying to see if this will save us any money unless we miss the
And
deadline.
it's tough on that because you have to sign up and then they tell you after that.
They won't tell you if you're gonna save that.
You have to
They
put
could
your
be
name
more.
in.
It's possible, I think they're saying.
You have to commit to whether you want to go out to bid.
Yeah,
And
no.
if the group as a whole comes out as a plus, but your individual
This is just my.
numbers don't work out, you're stuck.
I'm not a big fan.
All the municipal, I think we should skip it this year and consider it again next year if we get better answers. We weren't getting better answers.
Yeah, it was
pretty sketchy.
It's
It's a gamble. I don't think.
And I was okay with going with our neighbors, but I,
Well, that was the camp.
well, that was the county.
That's just for our municipal buildings.
So basically, they take everybody's over together.
So anyhow, that was that. Green Acres, I would bring it up. Green Acres with this cold weather.
Bring it up.
The heat there is not very efficient. We have our electric bill for the first month, January, February's gonna be worse. It's close to $700 for that little bathroom, because the heat never satisfies, barely keeps it at 40 degrees, barely keeps it at 40 degrees, you don't assume. And it's dangerous. There's no gas back there, I understand that, but a heat pump could be put up there, and it'll pay for itself in energy savings, probably in 3 seasons.
What can we do with the heater that's out there now?
We could utilize that with a heat pump, I could use it, we can, whoever does the job.
Could that go somewhere else, maybe?
No, it's just.
Oh, enhancement of the
Right,
existing.
I can use that electric heat
Ah.
backup, it'd just be right in line with it, in series with it, whoever does the job, but I could engineer it. And it should be done because the energy efficiency on a heat pump is 70% more efficient than straight electric heat. So it's $700 in January.
It's been a rough, I hear
It's a lot. Well, January's gonna be rougher.
We're staying open.
Overtime or?
Well, you're gonna need a technical info on electric heat, it's only
I
gonna,
guess basically.
it's only gonna raise their temperature.
Price don't raise. I don't care if it's personally.
And we can-
The outside temperature is zero.
It's hard to get it, if it's zero, it's hard to get it.
Yes, but this heater, even when it's 15 degrees out, it's not satisfying the building. That means it never shuts off. Now that I'm thinking about it, the thermostat's set on 70. Shouldn't we set it back to 50?
Well, it never even gets,
I mean, the 50
it's never getting to 50.
It's not, it's a challenge, but to cut that bill down until we do something
Yeah,
about
we could
it.
try. I like the idea of the heat pump.
We put a portable oil-filled heater in the back room to heat that room up a little bit so that the extra heat will go to the bathroom, and the pipes don't freeze, because it's very close, it's 39 degrees. If it gets any colder for a period of time, the pipes can start
Oh,
bursting.
God, we don't need that.
So a heat pump makes a lot of sense, and if anybody wants me to start getting pricing on that, I can do that.
We need to, I mean, we invested a lot in that building,
Yeah.
it was a tough building for us.
There's no
Obviously,
chance
we never built one
9
before,
years in the making.
took 9 years.
So,
The Coliseum took less.
That's a big ass front.
The houses are right there.
It's starting out.
I know, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. For a little heater.
Yeah.
Coliseum.
so it's a heat pump, it's
A
called?
heat pump, yeah, they're pretty efficient these days,
Is it
they're very, I'm
something
starting
big,
to
something
install them
small?
personally.
What does it look
And we
like?
didn't do them before, years ago, because the further you go south, where the climate is a little, not quite as cold as it is up north, they're all over the place. But now they're becoming more efficient, more effective, people are starting to purchase those around here.
Explain it to me.
A heat pump is just like a regular central air system, in that building, there was a unit upstairs already, the ductwork's already done, I just,
Right.
you just pull it apart, put your heat pump coil section in, run some lines outside, put an outdoor condensing unit, run power to that, turn it on, and you're saving money.
Can you do that for my son?
Sounds like a long
That's a heat pump, yeah,
Yeah, it is.
yeah. It's a different kind, that's a ductless. You already had the ductwork, there's no expense there, so it's pretty good, inexpensive install if you get the right contractor.
It's been cold.
That's
That's too
great.
much money too, for a little bathroom, right?
I'm afraid of the freezing situation, is God forbid,
Absolutely.
if the pipes freeze, oh, Lord.
Absolutely. Okay? A lot of work.
I'd like to, one more thing.
One more thing, go on.
Candy had mentioned, and a few other people, out here in the hallway, maybe a bench for people to sit in between pictures and all that. The place is always overflowing, plenty of room, a bench or two, and maybe putting Mayor Camella's picture, plaque, a little plaque in tribute to him, and his services to town, a bench. She really wants to get him a bench.
Okay.
So it's something to consider. We need a bench anyhow.
Well, obviously the chairs, we're gonna hopefully make a decision very quickly.
Well, I also have that information, it's also upstairs. Anybody who wants to look into the courtroom chairs, these chairs,
It's all upstairs.
everything is upstairs.
We'll get it done.
How do we get upstairs without setting up the alarm?
Up the alarm.
Well, currently, you have a key.
No, I don't have a key.
Miss,
I have keys.
Mr. Ranieri's gonna give us all keys,
All council have keys today.
and then eventually that alarm pad will be just for us, it's unique to each one of us.
I have them. Oh, they get a
So
ring.
what did you say?
We should all, Mr. Ranieri will give us all keys, and then we will reset that alarm so that the alarm will be back on, unique to
It's on the
us.
other door.
It's a separate alarm just for upstairs.
You can go in that door with the key, but don't go in the other door. The alarm will go off. So no one should take, you can go upstairs yourself and help yourself to.
But then what you're saying about the alarm?
You don't want to go into. the-
Right now, it's bypassed.
Yeah.
And he's gonna get it reset, and we'll have our own code,
So right now, we can use the upstairs.
right there.
Thank you, Mike.
This key's the what's it?
The side door,
This is for the side
The
door.
one we just replaced?
yeah.
The new door.
Do you have a key already? Look at that.
Thank you.
Now we can brainstorm.
This is wonderful.
You don't have a key?
Are we good? Oh, that's it, actually.
And there's more.
This is, hold on.
Yeah.
Maybe I see her, I have it.
She's gonna try to be here, she's about 30 minutes away.
Two things you have to keep in mind. The first one is that when you use that, you need to relock it too. So it's either open or it's either locked or unlocked. So you
Guess
just
we'll have
need
to get used to it.
relock.
And that's good, I'm done.
Ms. Patsy?
Oh, I will, say my report.
You can, that's fine. Mr. Wright?
Oh, I'll say one. I guess I would love to delve into all these projects that are coming down the road.
Yes.
With letting you know that,
We can pay for it.
well, until you reach the limits of the bond, we're okay for a little bit, but we do have rules we have to comply with. And given all these projects coming down the pike, excuse the pun, we're going to be utilizing our QPA loan. So, I'm working.
I'm purchasing it. Exactly.
Oh, Bob, look.
DT Buffalo came in, everybody met him.
Yes.
He-
Nice
he's doing
guy,
the-
nice guy.
He's doing the trash truck, and that will be, I think, the final steps are due to be back from the committee so that we can put the final package together tomorrow. So,
That's great.
ready to the street with that. So, once we get that out on the street, then we'll roll into the next project. In the beginning, for the next few weeks, he's going to be giving me times of different days, but I'm trying to coordinate him on Mondays, since we have pretty much the Monday night team that does payroll and recs and stuff, so that you'll have availability to sit down. So that this way, instead of having a middleman in the middle, if you're me in the middle, if you're doing lighting, then you can go over that Bob, because technically it's
So you see,
it's
Mr.
his
Renner-
license on the line, you know, when we're doing this.
So Mr. Ranieri could use Bob a lot more to do these
Correct,
projects.
and this way, he'll be available eventually after hours, so that it can be convenient for council.
Does he have a account, does he have a borough email?
It's not per email yet.
Probably gonna be-
We talk about it.
Send me here
We
Monday.
could use these.
He has,
He has
a personal, well, I don't use.
You wanna use what,
He
Brandon?
has a personal email.
Well, that would be,
So-
yeah, rather than bombarding him on Monday.
No, I mean, obviously, I still want to, we still, because we need recs for this stuff, we need, he's purchasing side. So we're going to be reviewing our policy procedure. We have one. I don't know if it's ever been issued, but I do have one because it was on my predecessor's computer, and it's rarely followed by departments with regard to certain things. So we're
resources for you, but at the same time, we can make sure everybody's clear with the process, so, not just council, but the departments. I think I'll save most of it for the actual council meeting, but just to give you one thing, since all the wonderful weather we've been having, we've been trying to take a proactive instead of a reactive approach with regards to the storms. And I guess a little bit of an example, so the payroll comes in, I don't want the payroll number for the manpower salary, but just for the salt alone, last year for the whole season, we spent $6,000 on salt. And I don't have the tonnage specifically on that, but it's usually about the same price. This year, in December, we purchased 23 tons. And again, that's to fill us the capacity, because you have some of it from the prior season, so you always have old salt, new salt. But we did 23 tons in December to get us ready for the season. That was 1,500. We put another order in on the 21st of January for another 26 tons. So that basically covered the first half of January storms, stuff that happened in December for 1,300. On January 28th, which was a week later, we put in for 44 tons. So that first January storm basically used about 40 tons of salt. Most recently, we were down to this last doubleheader that we've had, we were down to the bottom of the barrel, and we just put an order in for 60 tons of salt. So year to date in 2015, we basically done $95 million. But I
How much
think
is the county use back on all that? What is that?
I'm not really sure how that part of the process works. We're still working on that. But basically, I think we're seeing the difference. Instead of waiting until there's a problem to put the salt in, we're putting the salt in. We're not skimping on it because we're worried about putting another order in.
I saw Brian over there.
So, and we also, our rod machine is in, and it was ready for the first storm. The process on that at this point in time is primary routes. And obviously, same thing with the snow. When the event's going on, we try and make sure the major arteries are moving along. Matter of fact, on Sunday night, or Saturday night, they were actually even doing the Blackbird Pike because it's so bad on the pipe. They just had to do it because otherwise it's just being a mess for everything else. And I think the guys did a very good job with it. And the Saturday afternoon storm was insane. I mean, the cars, I don't think anybody was prepared for it, but we were ahead of the curve. And Plum Street Road was at a standstill.
They had the
The Blackbird Pike was at a standstill. I mean, it was insane out there. You couldn't even get the trucks cross over to the other side of the street because the cars wasn't running there. It was crazy. But that's probably the most of it.
The truck was trying to do, get it on the
Yeah.
road.
Well, then they would let the first one through, and then they parked them off the intersection. Yes, there's two more waiting to get across. So it's kind of,
Oh, it was bad on the way.
but that's
Anything else? No? Rachel, did you want to do something here? Sure. Okay, let's do a good engineering. We'll get to Mr.
I submitted a report in writing, but we also had an engineering meeting yesterday, so I'll try and work that meeting into the report. We already talked about the year 37 CDBG project, so we're on over Washington Avenue. In our meeting yesterday, we talked about some concepts for the Borough Hall parking lot. Kind of if you can get that last building or not, you either have 15 spaces, or if you can get the building, I think it comes up to 26. I'm jumping around.
We're getting it.
And if you don't get it, there's only one way in, one way out, so you're
I
trying,
understand.
people trying to back up and things like that. Jumping over to the infrastructure trusts on page 2, our plans and specs are due on March 6th, which is next Friday. We met with John Gunn and Pat Moriarty. There's about 4 miles of pipe we're going to try and slip line with the funding. So our survey crew is out there every day trying to get all the information we need. It's a fast-paced project so that we can get the funding from DEP. Just so you know, this is a fiscal year 2016 project. So we're not going to get money until December of 2015, and we'll be constructing in the spring of 2016. But in order to get all the DEP ducks in a row, we have to have plans and specs to them by next Friday. So we're proceeding with that. In our meeting yesterday, we also talked about Bowers Avenue, which is a drainage problem. We came up with a concept sketch, and we submitted a cost estimate for that. So if you want to move forward with that, we're estimating it will take approximately,
$196,000.
$196,000 if you want to do the parking lot as well. We also talked about the bike path drainage. There was two concepts we considered. One was trying to just regrade and hopefully have public works do that work. But I think just regrading would be too much work for them, because it's pretty substantial what we have to grade. But we think a better idea is to put some pipe and inlets in, and in order to do all that work, we're estimating we need $60,500.
How much? How much?
$60,500 to do that work.
Let me get a rake. Start raking out there.
But it's, we're looking to put in,
Yeah.
so there's three inlets and 160 feet of pipe. Right now, the water's not getting to where it's supposed to go, and that's why it's letting out.
This is a what street again? This is Third?
It's between Third and Fifth, and the water's just sitting alongside and it ends up getting on top of the bike path. The Washington Avenue project, we're just looking to close that job out. So I'm working with Lambert to get all the closeout documents. The emergency generator, we had to start up and testing on February 12th. Everything went relatively smoothly. I think there was a problem with a heat system or something like that. And we're also working on closeout documentation with the contractor for that, which is getting the as-bills and all the test reports back from the summer. While they're going to start, they had run tests and they provide you with all the activities and stuff like that. So we're just waiting for that to come in. And nothing further to report on the former public works project.
Okay.
And covered it. There is something that's not in here which I have to deal with. It's probably might be better just off the rich on the side. We're getting a lot of requests from Joyce and Joy for the road things. It's taking, it's a good bit of our time, so I don't want to just charge our general engineering budget. So I probably have to set something up with Rich to get, so we can use some of that escrow money.
Well, we've got the fees, can't we use that?
But I didn't know if we should be setting up a job number and submitting it to Rich as part of, so that's, I don't know if that's something we should talk about now, or if you just want.
Figure out how to pay.
What is this for?
The road.
He's going out inspecting the roads, we're collecting the fee. There's a cost for him to
Well,
go.
there's just a cost with me to come up with permit fees.
Well, just even that, or to do the math.
I gotta either write a letter or depending on how in-depth it is. And at this point, it might just be $100 an application to look at, but I think I have.
Well, that's why we have a fee to be covered in size.
Right, but there's nothing in place right now for me to charge against the escrow. I guess that's just a matter of setting up either a different job. Because I don't want to just charge general engineering.
No.
We have a limited budget that we have to stick to with that, so it's just a way for us to use some of the escrow money.
Can those fees be like a dedication by right, or keep that off to the side, or you
Well, the
can't?
extras are already dedicated.
They are dedicated.
It's just a question, then there's also application fees, which that offset the general side of it, the general side. But, I guess I don't understand the process a little better.
Okay. I'll just get to it.
So you have a lot of these now?
I think there's probably 8 or 9.
Well, we have, now that you changed the ordinance, it changes the method. Before, we didn't have to do this.
It would just be $50.
$100 plus, the utility companies never had to put up, any money in escrow. Now they do, and now there's all these caveats in the ordinance now. So we don't, Joy came to me and we couldn't determine what they
But
needed.
the only thing the ordinance doesn't do is set up how we reimburse the engineering cost.
Yeah, what do we?
Do we have to amend the ordinance again?
It's a non-reimbursement fee.
It's just a fee?
That the applicant pays the borough.
It's just that, well, that's not escrow.
Yeah.
But there is an escrow account too.
But the escrow is not, does it say?
Oh, the escrow's
that
not
it
for
have to be
review,
used
the escrow's for
engineering?
getting
It
fixed the
doesn't.
project. Figure it out, it's your job.
If we're bringing in $1,000 up the street, I don't have a problem charging general engineering $150.
All right, so you mean we might just raise our general engineering budget to cover.
We have a specific purchase order for street opening.
Okay, you understand, maybe that's the way to
Yeah, I think
do
that's a
that.
good
But
idea.
you also put a caveat in the budget to
Right.
explain why it
Why
would
we-
expect it to increase by 10% or something.
Yeah, we want the roads to be fixed right, that's our problem.
That's good.
Okay, that's good.
And that's all our list off that.
Okay, good. You didn't have anything?
Do not.
Mr. Fry, did you want to talk a little bit about the road projects that we're talking about? I guess the big question that it all comes down to is, looking at 2015 on funding, and what the engineer's giving us all these ideas. Mr. Wright, as we're doing this budget process, and Mr. Fry wants to have an idea of where we are money-wise. To do this, we've talked about, there's monies left over from some of our old road projects. Depending on the language, how we can use it.
No, you won't put a specific question.
Yeah, let's pose the same question.
So, yeah. Just you get the stop sign, like it goes across the other side, first 100 yards is horrible.
The original bond was for Singley and Pine. But I think
It
it was,
was very specifically written in that original bond. It says pine and sig. It doesn't say, you know, including but not limited to in the original bond. And that bond is actually funded. So.
this money's left over.
We can do work on the other side of that. You know, more work on.
Do you think that's the way to go, or do you think it's reappropriating the bonds? I hate to reappropriate the
Well, it's a
bonds.
policy decision.
Well,
Where do
it's
you
not,
think
it's
you-
more of a cost question. Yeah. What's 100 yards of mill and surface cost? Vertical street.
How wide, how long, and stuff like that.
You did the original job, you're asking me.
You know, the question is there's money left over in these bonds when we borrowed money in the past to do
Only
roads.
the one.
There's one.
All the other ones are very.
There's a little bit of Pine, right, or, no, Pine and Singley is the same one. So the question is, do we just do an additional part of Pine, additional part of Singley, or would we have to do cancel out that?
That won't be.
We either reappropriate or cancel. What's your general thought, to other, what about?
It doesn't, paving a road is paving a road, so it doesn't matter to me which one you want, it's what you think.
What's the point is, there's only $83,000 there, and is that enough to cover?
gonna help.
Well, if you reappropriate, that would help with the balance of that.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
But if I already have a bond in place for $83,000 that says Singley Avenue, and Singley Avenue has a sinkhole that's falling apart,
Let's
it's
do
not
Singley
fine,
Avenue.
then why would you reappropriate something?
Well, the argument is, once again, it's a political decision. It's a decision of, you know, you've got 20 roads that we all look
Right,
at.
if you're saying.
Right.
How does Singley become on the top of the priority?
But then I don't want to do the 15 bond and include Singley Avenue in it when we're already funded.
Right, what do we look at? There's $83,000. We've got the dead end of Pine, we've got the addition of Singley Avenue, so I guess we have to look at it. Otherwise, or we cancel the money. and
Let's
just-
look at it.
You see, you know, the only thing is, once you cross over Center Avenue,
No, I know what you're talking about.
Yes, let's look at it.
hey, I'd rather do the ones that we're looking at.
There's curbs again.
Maybe there's bad curves in it, right? So the intersections, there's all that stuff.
And if you're saying
Ramps,
it's
side
side roads in bad condition, you may not be able to do it going overlay, so it all depends.
We have to do that on a basis.
I can go look at it.
Because there's money. Okay.
Right.
So that's not answering the question, but there's money.
I'm not trying to change the committee's decision, that decision.
No, no, I understand. And Bob-
Did we finish that section that we?
And one thing we talked about at the engineering meeting was coming up with a updated priorities, maybe not on the whole town, but between Chief Daly and.
Look at 10 roads,
Know
okay.
What the bad roads are, we can get a list of 5.
You wanna get up?
10. Yes.
It's eyes are-
We don't need to talk about those now.
Well, he wanted to, his eyes got big.
Mr. Mayor, the other day I spoke with.
Talk in the microphone, state your
Yes.
name.
The other day I spoke with Mr. Farrell, Mr. Fascio, Mr. Bayshore. One of the problems that keeps coming up is on Forest Avenue. What do we do with this problem? 100 block going from Stratford Avenue to Davis, heading southbound. You follow me?
I know exactly what.
Okay. My recommendation, as I said 6 years ago, and I'm saying today, is that there should be a do not enter, that you can go towards Cummings Bridge Road. Okay, you can exit Forest Avenue from that way. You cannot go towards Davis Road from that way because of the abstract design of the road and the way people are parking. that's something.
That's the opposite of what you
I
said.
think Mr. Harrison
No,
has
no, that's
written
exactly
several
what I
said.
letters to that effect. Ron Harrison has written several letters to that effect.
Well, we put a speed bump there and, you know.
You have a speed bump.
you know, Let me ask you a question.
It's not the speed.
Nick come up with a
It's
great
not the
idea.
speed.
If that corner was wide, would we still have this problem? Or is that a separate
Where them
issue?
trees are, we can take the
Yes,
trees out.
I believe you still have the problem because the way the houses were built on that street, as you look, the house to the east side is almost at the intersection of Forest and Stratford.
The one right on the corner?
Right on the corner, so when people.
Like, we don't own that land.
We had, 5 years ago, we looked at widening to the opposite side.
Yeah, isn't there something
So
in there?
You're gonna have a telephone pole.
Oh, there was a lot of,
Right.
That's
Yeah.
like $20,000 line item. I think there was a fire hydrant there that you had to move. So there's a lot of issues with trying to widen.
well, the only thing I always believe in is democracy. And when we've done other projects like this that affect a neighborhood that I don't live in, that I'm not there, so I don't know what goes
I'm
on
there.
there.
I'm
You're
right
there. But my opinion has always been, if the residents of that area communicate to us that they want to do it. I appreciate Ron saying it, but Ron is one person.
You're not, yeah.
So if 30 people, if the people in Stratford and the people in Forest think that it should be one way, now, it's going to affect Sherry and all the people coming through. I don't come through, I think fine. But if those 30 people think it should be one way, I have no problem with it being one way. But I think that those people who live on that street have the biggest say. Even though Ron, I think he's got to say it, but if he can convince his neighbors, you remember when we sold the property, we vacated the public walkways? Every one of those neighbors signed a petition and said that they wanted those public walkways concrete. And they were willing to pay
I can
the
talk to
cost.
Ron. Would I be overstepping my
No.
bounds by talking to Ron and
Not at
saying,
all.
Ron, we're thinking about it, why don't you get a petition going?
If he has the neighbors, and I'm not saying there's,
I
I'm
don't know if he does.
not saying it has to be
He claims
unanimous.
that he does.
Well, you have the,
Yeah.
Ellis own 2 houses there. Mr. Ober owns a house there.
Yes.
There's only approximately, correct me if I'm wrong, Mrs. Kelly, probably 10 houses in that block.
On the 100 block.
The 100
It
block,
affects
is that correct?
the street next to it also, because now then you're gonna take.
Well, it'll affect Stratford a little bit too.
You'll make a right on the Stratford, make a left on
The
Oak
other
Avenue.
street
That
is
is correct.
gonna pick up that traffic.
Yes.
Oak Avenue does not have the abstract curve as Forest does.
Straight.
It's a straight run. And then most people then will then go from Schubert, which is the county road, to Davis Road, and go that way, which is a wider lane. And it's, you added more lighting out there on
Yes.
Schubert Avenue. I just think that the way the neighborhood looks, we have trucks parked out there, and if you have a car coming, west or
It's tricky.
south and north, it's tricky, and,
So
6 years
there's
ago.
all Forest one way?
No, just was one
Just
section,
that one?
100 block, from Stratford Avenue to Davis Road. You can't enter, you can exit, but you can't enter.
Oh, so it'd be two-way in front of.
So if they come
Longwood's
up, they
house?
come up Forest, they gotta make a right.
If they come up Forest from Caucus Ridge Road, they must make a right.
Okay.
See, personally, I think the whole street should be one way. That's Ron's. Ron
You're only
is
saying the
proposing
100
whole
block.
street.
You
You're thinking of
can't,
just
no, I'm just saying
one
100 block, because now if you go from Caucus Ridge Road, Forest Avenue, that's a large affected area. I'm saying only the 100 block, because of the way the road is that track. When you go home tonight, drive up that way, you're gonna see how it bends, has that
Yeah.
odd shape.
I've been by.
Okay,
I think
There's also a parking lot there for the optical business.
the optical,
Isn't that his parking lot?
no, you're your next block,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
That's on fire.
It's Palm.
Fire traffic.
There's gonna be,
Here's the thing, I think if we are considering that, I think we should make the whole block one way, and that is Ron's proposal. And I don't think you would just have people just signing off on that one street.
Lots of line. It affects that whole neighborhood and all.
Sure.
You got that parking lot there.
I'll talk to him about it, see if we can get a group of people who think that it's important. But I think the chief's opinion, even just that first block, actually isn't a terrible idea. It stops all that traffic coming off of Clemens Ridge
It
Road.
stops the traffic from coming off Caucus Ridge Road, but it prevents an accident. What we're into is preventing accidents. And that's being proactive instead of reactive, so we don't have a head-on collision out there. Or we do have a little child out there runs out. And people are using that as a company. Let them use the main drags as a company.
But at bare minimum, we should, even if we do this, we should notify those people who live on that street that were considering this.
What block are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
You're talking about
What's the story on that? Remember I said to you one time when I wanted
Block,
to do
block,
that
house,
on
block.
We had to
I
notify
wanted to
everybody.
notify the people, and you said,
Yes.
by ordinance, from there.
I know.
Like a truck
Pass an ordinance.
to
on
Davis
First
Road.
Reading.
So it would
It's
be
advertised
from
in the
there to where.
Davis
So
Road,
if
yes.
we want to consider Forest Avenue.
So
as a
if I was
one-way,
on Stratford, I could make.
It's an ordinance.
If you were going on,
We would have to do an ordinance.
yes, you can
And
make
it's
a left
advertised in the
on
paper.
first.
So,
We can make a left
so
on
Joyce
first.
says we don't have to notify the people.
I know Joyce said that, but Joyce,
But
no
No, no,
offense,
no.
is not the elected official, and I think that,
And what happens
I think we should let the people know that we're gonna change that street. I don't think it's.
and what
I'm
we,
just trying to get it figured out.
what we do, if you do decide to pass it, we usually send an officer out there during the rush hour time for at least 1 week. And we, if we stop violating, we give them a warning and explain to them that it's now a wrong way, they cannot go here, they have to make a right. So it's mostly, it's the same people time and time again. So we have an officer out there for 1 week, telling people, giving them the verbal warning that they must now find another route. And then after that 1 week, then we issue summonses. We've done this in the past, we've done it down by the school.
One ways are tough.
Some of the people, how would they do that?
Oh, it requires an ordinance, which means we have to advertise that public hearing. The problem with public hearings is no one ever shows
I
up.
know.
Well, if he's doing 200-foot letter.
But if we do a 200-foot letter, which is very easy, I'll pay the $10, and, we'll send the postage, and we just let everybody know that we're thinking about doing it. I think it's
We
one
have
purpose.
done this in the past. Before, we made Night Avenue on Sundays, it's a one-way street. It worked out tremendously. We cut down problems out there. We have recently done Westford Avenue in front of Old School. Even though there's still a bit of a parking problem with kids, I think it eased it up a little bit.
It's a lot better now.
Yeah.
It took time.
Really? Really, you think so? I don't think so.
Me personally, I think
How
the
many kids
progress.
are dropping off at school?
I drive around there.
Busing would take
So
so
much
You
better.
can't even get down the street.
Well, you
You should go back to busing.
It's even harder when
Busing.
you have traffic coming the other way.
So I think the idea of doing it.
I'm gonna go to the meeting, busing at the,
So by putting the time in, I think it was a great idea, and I think it took some pressure off of that.
But remember, it was caused because of the busing. Let's not forget. The reason all these cars show up is because kids don't walk, parents drive over the kids.
So would I be
And it's worse going away because.
And it's worse going
Am I
away.
in violation if I go to Ron and say, Ron, get some people?
You can have to talk to anybody. Absolutely.
I thought Ron wanted a three-way stop sign, that's what he was asking.
No, he wants a one-way, he wants that whole street one way.
I think Ron wants a gated community.
He does, you're exactly right. He wants his own gated community.
Easy pass at the,
I thought it was an issue at the corner there with,
Okay.
Yeah, but there is.
We always, did you have something else?
We're talking about, probably come up with a list of 5 or 10 roads.
Yes.
We want to consider.
Wish
Bob and I,
list.
or whoever could go out and look at them and try and.
Well, we have some old lists too. We can go through all of them.
We still have the old
The
vision.
question is how much money again. I think what Mr. Wright was trying to say is over these past 8 years, we have all these dangling monies, and that's a chunk of change, $83,000 on Pine and Sing. That's a big bond, way too
I
much.
understand.
it's Pines Hill and Shepherd, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, I think you're right.
Question.
No, it isn't.
We discussed reviewing our fees, all of our fees that we charge.
Yes.
Does that ever happen? Who does it?
Yeah, I had it, but I know these meetings go long. The, one of the fees that we're reviewing, yes, is being reviewed, and that's gonna be done through the planning. We're gonna do it through the planning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that should come from the planning.
That's a big one.
Mr. Wright, Mr. Farrell's question still is the bigger question is how much money are we gonna spend on roads this year?
How much they can.
That is a council problem. So here's what I would say. My concern is that we have money that we haven't spent last year. We have money left over for Irish Hill Road that we haven't spent. We have all this money, $100,000 for Iron Wings, which we haven't spent. We've got $87,000 from Singley. If anybody remembers how long Singley was done 5 years ago when we did Singley. So what we need to know is how much money is all left over in the funds, if we're gonna continue using them as they are, or reappropriate them. I think we've talked about this, Oakland Avenue, now, we've asked for 150,000 from the DOT.
We've asked for 300,000.
We asked for 300,000. That's a tough one. Now, here's gonna be the big question. I would argue that we should try to at least do Oakland as bare minimum, even if we don't get the DOT funding. So I guess maybe what I'm saying is we need to have at least 300,000 to do Oakland, regardless if the state comes through. Now, once again, every meeting I ever go to, all they tout is that they want to give the town's money to fix roads. I don't think that's gonna happen. But then we talked about that one of our priorities this year, hopefully one of our priorities still is to work out this parking issue with these buildings that we have. We have an opportunity to buy these buildings at a very fair price. We need to move on that, and that's gonna take up another 300, what did we figure that was, 380,000. Just-
Now, which bond, this is next year's bond?
This would be the 2015 bond. And what we can do is short-term financing, things like that, but Mr. Wright, this year, we're gonna sell bonds, we're gonna sell municipal bonds. So we're gonna sell municipal bonds, and the council feels that we need another $700,000 or $800,000 to do Oakland, to maybe, look at Bowers or that drainage problem, or maybe some of these other small things. Remember, we still talked about a vehicle for the fire department. We did talk about a vehicle for public works to replace old vehicles.
I think the chief is looking at trucks with.
Well, that's what I mean, we'd already said
He's
that.
looking at that.
I mean, a truck, 30 or 40,000 for a truck with a plow that replaces a truck that we're getting rid of, we have to continue to do that. So I think the question that Mr. Wright is saying is, it really is our decision how much money we want to borrow. We've always, in the past, we've always tried to borrow as much as we're paying off everything. So if we pay off $700,000, we borrow $700,000. So we've basically done that. Interest rates are really low, it's never cost us
That was
anything.
a fabulous rate to buy.
Long-term financing is going to cost us a little more money. Our overall expenses are down. I mean, we are spending less money now in the borough.
Lean and mean.
And we are lean and mean. So I'm for investing in the community because I'm tough on the operating budgets. I'm tough on salary and wages. Everyone knows this about me. I'm tough on that stuff. What I'm liberal on is investing in our roads, investing in our recreation, investing in equipment to make us more efficient. And just ask our people to work hard and do their jobs. That's the answer.
Don't you think that investing in the roads, we should do that for sure, I agree with you 100%. But it's an ongoing situation. Shouldn't we have more than a 1-year plan, a 3-year plan? Shouldn't there be a 5, 7-year?
Well, it's funny, every time you brought this up, the engineers always question this because there's two parts of it. Funding changes dramatically. In the past, the town used to get a couple $100,000 to fix roads. Our state aid has dropped $500,000 or $600,000 now. We're not unique. Remember, this is the whole state. We don't know what monies are going to happen. And then politics does change. Politics changes in the sense that, something becomes a priority. And they have more experience than me and us that when politics change, all of a sudden, Oakland is very important to us. But imagine very quickly, Oakland could be off the table.
Bring it back, because it happens at the state federal level.
And it happens at different levels.
Resources change and go away.
DOT funding, CDBG funding. CDBG, we used to get what, $70,000, $80,000? It's now $37,000 doesn't
Would a
it?
Democrat go in and make a difference?
Sure, probably higher taxes. I'm sorry.
You're right.
And I'm a Democrat.
So pretty much during the committee meeting for
Where's
the
the stick
roads.
with the hook? Where's that stick?
I've been to these meetings,
Where the hook him?
It is what do you tell you? You raise that gas tax, 25 cents, it'll help fund us. For this town, it'll benefit us $300,000. It'll be great. Oakland will be done. We can probably do
We
it.
get grassroots people to understand that that's what we need.
I disagree with you. If you're a working man like me and him, saving that $30, $40 a week on gas is really helping us.
I put 300 miles on my truck a day. So, I don't want that gas to go up any higher.
My trucks, I'm spending, I know John, I'm spending $2,000 a month.
I pass it to the customer. Fuel charge, $15.
Well, a lot of companies started
And they
doing
can
it.
plan that, I say, bring your stuff to me then.
Yeah, well,
And they can't do it.
there was a lot of delivery companies are doing it, so. The only thing is that I think what Mr. Wright is saying is, even though we like to blame him for money, it's really our decision. And my personal opinion, this council, I think we've done a good job investing in this town. Our tax rate, there's no way it's gonna go above that 2% cap. The regional's gonna do 2%, the county's gonna do 2%, the local's gonna do 2%. It's reality, you know? The state's not gonna give us more money. And even if there was some windfall and they gave us $500,000, if anything, what we should do with that is, that's when you reduce property taxes. That's not, you know, that's not good. That's not good.
Everybody wants our governor to cut, and then when we don't get money back, you know, they're like, why? Why are we not getting, because there's no money coming in?
Yeah.
You know, and then we raise the taxes, everybody raises the taxes, oh, well, you raise the taxes, oh, well, we can raise the taxes, get more money.
Well, the budget introduced
We're
today,
not.
I think, was $33.5 billion, which represented, I think, almost a 4% increase, because he figured that the revenues would go up 4%. Because people are working more and there's more money out there. But,
Are we still got anything we're going to close session?
yeah, we are. So, we you know,
Not a chance to get anything.
Well, perfect. Just to clarify, our meeting was for finance, Mike and Eleanor. It'll be next week, 15 minutes early for the general meeting.
Before council?
Is that right? Yeah, 15 minutes is good. Is that
I
all
do
right?
have that in my calendar.
Okay.
okay. We're going to do a public portion, and then we're going to do a quick closed session because we have a personnel issue. This part of the meeting is open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address.
We have to adopt the resolution
The
for
resolution.
the municipal lines.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
You can go back.
Yeah, we'll come back. Yes, sir.
213 Oak Avenue. First, I'd like to thank Councilwoman Passio for helping me with the ordinance for the dog tethering. And I'd like to thank all of you for considering it on behalf of all the dogs in town and all the people who love the dogs in town. It is the right thing to do. The
You have a
other
list of all those dogs in
So
town?
I can find them.
Gotta give them the vote.
We're going to get dog license.
On another note, you were talking about making Forest Avenue one way. I wish that you would consider what impact it will have on Oak Avenue. There are far more houses on Oak Avenue. It's far more congested. Cars are parking on both sides of the street, so that only one car can get by at a time. More children. We are already dealing on Oak Avenue with the traffic from Triton High School. The house on the corner of Davis Road and Oak has no sidewalks.
It's on the list.
People coming down Oak, where the traffic will be diverted, turning left. I mean, it's going to, I know because I walk my dogs there, it's awfully hard. One of the problems on Forest Avenue is a truck that parks there on the corner of Stratford. I know I don't go down that road because of that truck. You can't see around it. I think a lot of the problem could be diverted if you would just say, I don't know who owns the truck.
He's allowed to park it there, and I believe he parks it there
Yeah.
to stop people from coming down Park.
Well, that's part of the problem. Let's see, something else I wanted to say. We get foot traffic on Oak Avenue with kids going to Triton, which is something to consider as well. And I surely hope that if you are considering this, you tell the people on Oak Avenue, because they should be notified. I know they're going to be up in arms for one person complaining about it on one street, where it's going to impact a lot of families with children. And like I said, you can go down there and count the houses, far more congested than what Forest is.
Well, you know, I had considered that we do the whole Forest Avenue as one way, rather than have people turning. And I think that that's a more reasonable solution, rather than have them turn in the middle of the street, in the middle of the block to get anywhere. And then they wouldn't be going down Oak Avenue.
You don't think that they would come down
They
Forest?
wouldn't be using it.
You don't think they would come down Forest and Stratford to Oak?
Well, the access will be only going out from Davis to Columbus Bridge. They would go out. They can't come in. So from Davis to
From
Columbus
Columbus
Bridge.
Bridge to Davis, that they would be going.
But
Oak doesn't go away.
they can't
No,
come
Oak
in.
doesn't go all the way out.
Okay, so that
They
would
can't
eliminate.
come in, they can't come in Forest. They have to go in Pond.
Yeah, I remember.
And so what I'm saying is, wouldn't they come down Pine onto Stratford onto Oak, you don't
I'm
think?
not that kind of guy.
I don't
No more than
think so,
normal, they're doing
because
it now.
They'll stay on Pine.
We'll look at
That-
You're most likely you're
So,
right.
but my feeling is, rather than split the street in half and have one way only one block.
That would be
it should
awful.
It should be one way, the
What is
whole
that?
street, from Forest to Columbus Bridge should be one way.
I remember a gentleman, Dan.
Do you think that that would be
I still have concerns, but I remember.
about
About making it one way and the traffic patterns. There was a
what?
gentleman,
You know, Forest is a problem.
well, I can imagine, but
And
like I
it's
said, I
a
think,
Because of the truck, but the truck is parked legally.
I do believe it's the
It's
truck.
legal. We measured it. We know it.
I do believe it's the truck that's causing the problem. And it's a shame to impact all these people on Oak Avenue or on Pine for one truck.
They would have to come in Pine.
Right.
If they wanted to go into Forest, they can't.
And so-
They have to go to Pine Street.
I was at a meeting a couple of years ago, maybe, where the gentleman, I can't remember his last name, his first name's Dan, lives on the corner of, let me think, Pine and near Columbus Bridge Road. And he was complaining about, at the traffic light. He lives right there by the traffic light and the traffic that comes in. And of course, this is going to impact him. More traffic's going to be coming by his house, and he's already up in arms with the situation. I'm just saying, think about this fairly and how many
It
people are
doesn't
going to
just
be impacted.
affect the street that we're doing, it affects the people.
Everybody.
And I understand that.
And so that's, I just wanted to call attention to that.
We don't move real fast, we'll look.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, I move to close the portion. Is there a motion to close the public portion?
I said.
All in favor? Public portion is closed. Okay, we have to do a resolution for the municipal alliance, correct?
Yes.
Resolution 1534 is a resolution authorizing the submission of a strategic plan for the Runnemede Municipal Alliance Grant. Someone want to make a motion for that?
I make a motion for the resolution authorizing the submission of a strategic plan for the Runnemede Municipal Alliance Grant.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Okay. Roll call?
Mrs. Kelly.
Yes.
Mrs. Passios?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
And Mr. Ranieri.
Yes.
5 ayes, 1 absent.
Okay, the resolution is adopted. Okay, this will be closed session. What resolution number would this be?
35.
35. Resolution 1535 to go into closed session to talk about personnel issues, 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
And everybody-
Someone make a motion on that?
I make a motion.
I'll second it.
Nothing afterwards. We're not going to do anything afterwards. We're just going to adjourn. Motion by Ms. Passio, second by
John Ranieri.
Mr. Ranieri. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.